Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam.
How's your day?
Oh man, hectic, busy, crazy.
Okay, I like it. Sounds like money.
Well, that's not as much I want, man.
Never as much as we want.
Yeah, most of us people having problems.
Okay.
And then I'm dealing with this Democratic Party stuff locally.
So where your ex-governor's running for the Senate.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, but the problem is, especially when you look at the local county, there's too many African Americans in office down here. They Caucasians can't deal with it.
So or that's why they're trying to redraw the lines, right?
No, this ain't nothing. This has nothing to do with redistricting.
Okay.
This is not even outside of the Democratic Party. This is the Democratic Party.
So the Democratic Party has a problem with
Incumbent
there being too
incumbent
many
county.
in Cumberland County has a problem with there being too many African American.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
well,
start saying too many Balalian politicians in office.
uh, I ain't ready to call them Bilalings yet, but
Okay, they African
I'm
Americans
I'm
then.
I'm I'm ain't past calling them Negroes. But anyway, yeah.
Okay.
Um, and that's been the thing. Like I said, in North Carolina, brother. Normally, the Republican presidential candidate wins. You understand?
Statewide.
Statewide,
Hmm.
because there's a lot of lying Caucasians out there. They might be Democrat, but when they go behind the counter, they discover that whatever happens behind the counter emboldens them, and they realize they're white,
Hmm.
and they vote their interest.
Their interest is anti-Negro.
Anything in it, yeah, to be ruled by Negroes. Now we
Okay,
got this
I
new
get
thing.
that.
We got this new thing called progressives, and they're they're getting power. Progressives tend to be not just fighting for gay rights. A lot of them are gay. You know what I mean?
Right. Oh yeah. Yeah.
And they're trying to get some power. They're trying to hijack the Democratic Party, and they've linked up with some of these Caucasians that allow them to do it. So we're fighting that battle. And I hate to try to defend Negroes because they act like Negroes. You know what I mean?
Right.
You should see the quality of candidates we got. They thought the mayor was resigning. 9 of them filed. Eight or nine filed. But I wouldn't vote for them with your vote.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so it's
All
crazy.
right.
It's crazy. So I'm dealing with that mess, and then get clients just walking them off. I mean, quit walking in my office, you know, because they want me to work on their stuff, right?
Right.
They got an emergency. I said, well, I'm gonna change my pay system. 'Cause when I go to the hospital in an emergency, they charge me more.
Hmm.
It's an emergency room, right? So I'm gonna have some emergency rates. It's an emergency, okay, I can charge you more. Like the hospital.
Higher copay and everything.
Everything, bro. When they want to come in and take up my time because I'm a good guy, then they're gonna walk out. Oh heck no. So other than that, it's been a good day. Other than that.
Okay. All right.
But, so I was what's this Kalita? Is she going on, you think? Well, how are we gonna do this today? How we do
Well, I mean, the way that what I want, hopefully she does join. Um, and hopefully some other people
Yeah.
join as well. But I kind of wanted to pick up on the discussion that we had at the end of yesterday
Mhm.
because I think it has some resonance. And I added I added a couple of things. If you saw my topic thing, I added a couple of things to what is Ummah, and that is who's the leader, and are Bilalians considered a part of the worldwide Ummah?
Well, based on the way they're treating us just in America.
I would say no. I would say no. I
Yeah,
want to hear what everybody has to say.
when they put on learning the Quran, studying the language and studying it.
Well, those are all part and parcel of something that the people in Indonesia have to go through, and they're in no better position than we are on a percentage basis of them that know Arabic, that read the Quran and can understand the Quran, that have some kind of a tafsir from some respected, imam or whatever. And that's the most populous Muslim country in the world.
Mm-hmm.
You could probably say the same thing about Malaysia. I mean,
But
we could talk to our imams and people who've been to Malaysia about their situation.
well, there were some Sudanese soldiers that came to Fort Bragg to train.
Okay.
They speak Arabic. That's their language.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So one of the brothers, well, really it was the currently man we have now, but he was just a brother on the floor. I was the imam at the time. And he asked him, one of the brothers, how much of the Quran does he understand? That's his language now.
Mm-hmm.
And he said maybe 40%.
Okay. And actually, that's good.
All right. He was probably over embellished, so he didn't want to say what it really was. And he said his sister taught the Quran
Okay.
back in Malaysia.
Okay. In Malaysia,
Not Malaysia, Sudan.
in Sudan. Okay.
And he gave her maybe a 50% deal, right?
Okay.
Because the Quran is classical.
Exactly. Arabic.
The
It's not
Quran,
regular
the
Arabic.
Quran is like, I can say like, it's not a good example, but for the most part, the Quran is like Shakespeare writing.
I'm
You
gonna I'm
follow?
gonna stop you. I'm gonna stop you and say it's higher than Shakespeare, and I'm gonna
Well,
let you finish, and
best I can.
I'm gonna give you a scientific example of a breakdown of the Quran. But go ahead.
Well, only because I don't know what classical English is,
Right.
but that's just to give an idea. I'm not equating to it now, but only because if you take Shakespeare to the average brother, how much that they understand?
They don't.
That's the example I'm saying.
Right. And you're right. You're 100% right.
All right. So when he told me that, that was a wake up call for me.
Hmm.
All right. That was a wake up call for me. Now, the miracle and the blessing on us is that Allah invested in Imam W. Muhammad
Correct.
and gave him an understanding of the book as it comes to solving our issues initially, right?
Hmm.
Focus on us. A lot of these other imams that come from other countries, they don't know nothing about us.
Right.
Now, how can they focus on it? I had a brother, I said, we used to get Jamaat, used to come down last year. You know what Jamaat is, right?
Yes.
And they used to come down last year. And they want us to sit and listen to them. So one Sunday they came. I didn't know they were coming. They just pop up, But I was at home getting ready to watch the Super Bowl. You following?
Yeah.
And one of the members of our masjid took it upon himself to bring them brothers to my house. Thank God I just bought a VCR, so I recorded. I
Man,
recorded.
they would if they had come to my house, they would have known all the lexicon of the NFL before they could have spoken a word. Super Bowl Sunday, coming to my house,
Yeah, I know.
you're gonna watch the game.
I
But
but
anyway,
like I said, I had a
that's
recording. I recorded it, so I didn't miss nothing. But if, I don't know what I have done would have done if I couldn't have recorded. So anyway,
uh,
so I asked the brother, he wants to teach. He's going to do dawah, teach me, and not saying he can't, but what he was talking to me about wasn't dawah for me. I mean, come on, that's basic stuff. That's like Islam 101. So I asked the brother. I said, brother, what kind of work do you do? And he said he was a doctor. Oh, okay, alhamdulillah. I said, but tell me one thing, brother. If I come to your office for a patient as a patient, are you going to just start diagnosing, or are you going to question my medical history of my family, the background, and all the stuff they do, right?
right.
He said, yeah, he would do that. I said, why don't you take Islam that way? Why don't you ask me? You come over here with Allah said pray 5 times a day. You know, all the basic stuff. You got to assume we know something. You understand? You can't come with know something like we don't know a doggone thing. Oh man, I guess I beat the brother so bad he started crying. I had to
Mm.
apologize. But no, don't come
Give him
with
some
that.
tea. You
Don't do
make him
it.
some tea, put some honey in it, kind of
Yeah,
soothe him a little bit.
I had to light up on him. So I said, brother, where you from? And he was from Pakistan.
Mm.
Oh. So I looked in the horizons, put my hand over my brows. I can try to look real far in the horizons.
Right.
Yeah, that's where them bombs are falling right now, and smoke and everything. You know, that's where you're from. Seemed to me they need your help over there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but they sent him over here to see if they can get a foothold for all of those that's trying to leave from over there.
Yeah, but they came to the wrong one, brother.
Assalamu alaikum, brother Ishmael.
So I'm looking, brother Ishmael. I get you part in the background.
Yeah, yeah. It is it's 7 after. Adam, go ahead and open this up officially.
Okay. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين.
I mean, well, and welcome everyone to Collective Conversations with Khalifas. So we will carry on. I can't think of the term. There is a term, a scientific term that has to do with language that describes the language of the Quran and the classical Arabic in which it is written, which nowhere in the world where they speak Arabic is Arabic spoken, written, or anywhere else read like it appears in the Quran. And the breakdown scientifically is It's yeah, okay. It's called a lattice encryption. Lattice. A lattice encryption. It's the way the Quran is written. That if you change anything, like if you're reading an ayat, if you change anything in the ayat, and I don't know all the little symbols and names of all the symbols that go over letters and all that, if you change anything in the Quran, it corrupts the entire thing. So there is no, oh, we're from the South, we say it like this. We're from the North, we say it like this, or tomato, tomato, potato, potato, whatever, doesn't play in the Quran. The reason it is preserved exactly in the original form is that's the only way it can appear. If you change anything about it, you change the Quran. It is the only known document, complete document of its kind in history. There's nothing else like it. Where the meaning of it is destroyed, or the meaning of passages, I should say, are destroyed if you change one thing in that passage. So yeah, it's truly unique, and people who try to lord over other people their knowledge, their knowledge of Quran, and they can pronounce it and they can recite it, which is a beautiful thing. They're not doing justice to it, and they're obviously not doing justice to their audience. To me, the beauty of Imam W.D. Muhammad is that he was able to take his knowledge of Arabic, his knowledge of the Quran, and he was able to give it to us in a manner that we could digest and understand. And he never, to all the recordings and stuff I've heard of him, he never once exalted himself because of that knowledge. He told us he came to it. He mentioned teachers and processes and all that type of stuff, but he never put himself above like he was just talking to children. And you know that's kind of that second question in there about leadership, which we will get to. So anyway, let's go back to what we talked about yesterday, and that is what constitutes an ummah. And based on interactions with the soldiers from Sudan, brother from Pakistan, interactions that we have with Muslims from other countries that are now settled here in the United States, are we really a part of their ummah, or what they view as an ummah? Or are we a separate ummah?
Well, going back what I read in the Quran, Allah says He created man to be an ummah, one ummah,
Mm-hmm.
but man differed. And because man differed, man became divided. And Allah had to send prophets and messengers to bring them back. So I would say that I don't think that most people see mankind as one ummah.
Would anyone even see the those who call themselves Muslims on a worldwide basis? Can anybody actually even see us as one ummah?
They uh, they haven't come with a convincing argument to show that. And when they do, let's say especially us, when they come bring it to us, they want to make us their slaves or following them
Mm-hmm.
because they get intentions to have us be their servants. You understand?
And prop them up.
Oh, to use us for whatever plans they got, which is not always a good plan.
Correct. You and Ishmael may remember this. There was a Islamic convention, I want to say in Toronto, Canada, and I can't remember the year, where Imam W.D. Muhammad spoke. And in his speech, he called for a unification or some type of unity at that time between Canadian Muslims, Muslims in the United States. I don't know if he at that time included Latin American Muslims or Caribbean Muslims. I don't think I've actually ever personally heard that address. Other people have. And I think there was something to that because the experiences and the life that people have to live and what has to be sorted out as a group is similar as opposed to say the Middle East or Asia. Any thoughts on that? Do you remember that address that he made? I think it was ISNA convention.
No, I don't.
Ishmael, do you remember that? Do you not? You probably don't. Do you have your audio? You don't have your audio. Okay, I got you.
Oh, okay. But
But you don't
you can
remember
hear, right?
that. I can hear you. I can't hear Ishmael.
Oh, okay. No, I'm saying he can hear, but you don't have audio.
Yeah, I think he can hear. He just can't. He's not able to speak. But there, I'll see if I can locate that as we go on. But I don't. I mean, I don't have a pat answer to the question. But if you press me on it, I would say that especially Muslims in the Middle East, they don't recognize us at all. At all. We are not in their thoughts. Our condition here, the what we might be able to add to if there was
To
an
if
ummah,
there was an Ummah,
what we'd be able to
what
add
would be able to add
to the discussion,
to the discussion,
even to help them with their
even to help them
problems.
with their
I hear the
problems?
feedback.
I
What's
hear
that?
the feedback. What's that? It may be me.
That's it.
Can I be
That's
heard? That
you can be heard, but you do have
be heard,
feedback.
but you do have
You got
feedback.
a
Okay,
double
I'm about
thing
to go
going
back
on.
on mute. Thing going on. I'll go back on
Okay.
mute.
All right. So I mean, I've made over the last 3 or 4 months, I've made it my habit to seek out so-called thought leaders. in the Islamic community who are in the Middle East, or they're in Western Europe speaking about Islam and the issues confronting Islam and all that. I have yet to hear one of them mention brothers and sisters in the Americas.
Well,
Not one time.
and I might have mentioned this last week, but I was in Chicago when ISNA moved its national convention to Chicago the same weekend we had our national convention. And I was getting ready to get on the elevator, going up to my room, when Imam Muhammad, Imam Clement, El-Amin, Imam Omar Shahid, Imam, what's the Imam in LA? They had all came back in. They had just got back from the ISNA. It was a Saturday afternoon. They were invited over to the ISNA convention. And we were going up on the elevator, and Imam Muhammad said, they're proposing a marriage. You know, they wanted to merge the conventions, right?
Mm-hmm.
They proposing a marriage. The Imam said, all I want to know who's going to be the husband, who's going to be the wife. So I doubt if the one in Canada yielded any better results than that. You know.
Okay.
So that's yeah.
On that question then, where does that leave us as a body of believers who we constantly are worried about all of our Muslim brothers and sisters all over the world? And I'm never going to say that we shouldn't be, because we should be. But the expression goes out from us on a continual basis. Woe, Sudan. Woe, Lebanon. Woe, Gaza. And so on and so forth. Even to Iran. We're worried about what's happening to the Iranians.
Well, even before you get that far, the whole world knows there's a problem with the Shias and the Sunnis.
Right.
You know. But they don't even see all Muslims as one Ummah. You understand?
Because of that schism, primarily between Sunnis and Shia. Primarily, right?
Well, then you throw the Palestinians in there. What's the excuse with the Palestinians?
Nobody likes them.
Mm-hmm.
And the Palestinians are fairly educated people, as education as a group goes. They don't travel. Well, okay, they do travel, but they don't. What's the word? The Palestinians would have forever stayed in Mecca. They would have never made it to Medina. It's just not in their DNA. They would have never made it to Medina. They would have stayed in Mecca. The Ismailis, they're all over. I mean, you can't place them in one spot for exploitation. The Sufis, they're all over. You can't place them in one spot for exploitation. Not that they don't, get exploited in certain places. People don't like their presence, but for the most part, they have communities spread out all over the world. You have to go looking for them to find them. I mean, it's hard to find them and persecute them, but they will travel for education. They will travel uh, for a particular imam or whatever they call their religious leaders. I don't actually think they call them imams, but yeah, there is that disparity. But I think more the disparity that happens in the Middle East is about artificial lines that were drawn that separated people from their cousins and stuff like that, and called things Iraq and Kuwait and you know Saudi Arabia. That those lines didn't exist until after World War One, really. And I think that also has fed into the enmity between groups of people. Now, the Persians, Iran, that did exist. They were one of the empires, even mentioned in the Quran in the Prophet's time, them and the Romans that were constantly at each other for dominance over probably at least a third, maybe a half of the world. So they have been exactly where they are in opposition to other groups for a long time. And I guess probably way back then, 14, 1500 years ago or more, those Persians were also, you could probably ban Pakistan and Afghanistan in with them as tribes that were aligned with the Persians. I mean, those are Aryan bloodlines that, I mean, they tie pretty closely together. And you can kind of see it in the way that they face the rest of the world and how they react to the rest of the world. They're kind of helpful with each other and have common enemies between them. But us here in the United States and West Africa, especially West Africa, we seem to be somewhat unique in even in our solidarity with the Middle East and Muslims everywhere else, that when it comes to issues that affect us in our land, they're not with us. They don't understand. They don't seem to understand anything beyond where we happen to worship and where we pay zakat at. That's it. And really and truly, I think if we're not in their masjid community and we're not paying zakat there, they don't think about us at all. And that's from their leadership standpoint. I mean, there's good people.
Well, they accept the external introduction of us. You understand? One could say, hey, well, they still think we all follow Fard Muhammad, right? Who they see as not a legitimate Muslim. So that's one thing. Two, they still see us as connected to a people that the America doesn't want. You understand? you got to keep in mind that a lot of those that come over here, they come from a country that has a caste system, such as the Pakistanis, such as the Indians, right?
Correct.
And so they right there think they're better than us. And that's part of it too.
I agree with you. And that's a big part of the problem because everything that you just mentioned is outside of Al Islam.
Hey, well, they don't see that.
So so well, I mean, but it's patently clear if you ever read the Quran, I mean, and study the Quran, maybe you have to be in a group where there are other people there that have better understanding than you or understand this part of it better than you do, so that you get a better understanding of it. But if you're not doing that, then no, that's a big flaw. Number one, you're not studying Quran. That's a big flaw. And if you are coming with these preconceived notions that have nothing to do with Al Islam, that have everything to do with any groups or tribes' desire to dominate or be dominant over other tribes in all things or this one thing or whatever, you're not acting as a believer. Because all of that, even though excellence is something we all seek, that dominance one over another is something that was cast out in the Quran and cast out by the prophet in his daily life. So these individuals, this even goes farther into the root of my question of who is an ummah. What is an ummah? Who's a part of an ummah? What does it even mean? I mean, the prophet made it a part of a overarching guide for living in Medina or whatever, that charter of Medina. He actually specifically put that line in there to say that all the people who sign on here and agree to this constitute an ummah. People who don't agree then and don't sign on are not part of the ummah.
Well, I mean, people that don't agree or sign on to what?
The charter of Medina. So when he got to Medina from Mecca, when he made the trek from Mecca to Medina, within I think the first some people say 9 months, 6 to 9 months of being there, he wrote the charter. He and Abu Bakr, whoever else was there that he counted on, they got together and they created the Charter of Medina. And everybody who was there, I'm sure it was read out to them or whatever. And the Jewish tribes, the Bedouin tribes, there may have been some nascent Christian groups that were there in Medina, whoever was there, that you either signed that you were going to abide by these guidelines if you were in the precincts of Medina, or you really weren't part of Medina. And in that, he had all that stuff about respecting the faith of others. They have the right to practice their own faith, have their own laws, da da da. All the stuff we talked about a little bit about this yesterday. So that was an actual document or documents, series of documents that people signed to, and he called it an ummah.
Why are we? What has that had to do with us being Muslims in the community?
Well, okay, so it's about the worldwide. It's not about just us African Americans here in the United States.
Oh.
Because it could be, but so you're there in Fayetteville, you're a part of a masjid there in Cumberland County, and all of you in that masjid are pretty much of one accord. You may have a couple of disagreements here or there, but you're pretty much of one accord in what your belief system is, how you go about your daily life, what is fair, what is not fair, so on and so forth. If you spread that out, you have your Imams Council of North Carolina that all of you guys meet and you have discussions about what should be done, how it should be done, what are we following, and you're in agreement with that. That goes farther to your Mid-Atlantic region, so on and so forth. When it all comes together, you're all pretty much on the same page of the direction the community needs to go, how the community needs to handle this, how the community needs to handle this issue, that issue, plan for the future, all of those things. That's an ummah to me. You have mutual consideration, mutual aspirations. You come together and you mutually discuss and decide on handling issues and planning for the future, all that stuff. That's an ummah to me. And maybe that's simple thinking, but to me, that's an ummah. If somebody is pulling against that and trying to pull that institution, that ummah apart, that's an enemy to the ummah, to me. That after the decision has been made to do a certain thing, this person is going to try to undermine the decision, or this group is going to try to undermine that. That's an enemy to the ummah. That's somebody who hasn't signed on, or some group that hasn't signed on. So, in my simplified version, if that's an ummah, and we in the community of Imam W.D. Muhammad can then start to consider ourselves an ummah, we got flaws, but we'll take that step and say that we're an ummah. Those who try to undermine us, are they signers on to our ummah, or are they antagonists to our ummah?
Oh, I think that's clear. That's any organization.
Correct.
Regardless of what you call it, that's just standard fare. If you're going to be a part of the organization, there has to be something that identifies the organization, and say you want to be a part of it, a member of it, then you had to follow those things.
Right.
The mission statement and the vision statement.
Correct.
Follow that. Now, if you want to work outside of that and you want to inject some other stuff, then you're not part of this, brother or sister.
Right.
That's everything.
Okay. So we're 100%, we're on the same page there.
Yes, sir.
So when other groups who are believers, and we're not supposed to say that they are not believers, when they work against what we're trying to do, are they, sometimes it's subtle, sometimes it's very blatant. Or when they see us as the ant who was trying to avoid Solomon's army. They don't even see us. They're just gonna step on us. They act like we're not even in the room. They're just gonna walk in the room and take over the conversation, start talking, make decisions, walk back out of the room like we weren't there. We don't get to say a word. Who are those people? Can we even though they say they're Muslims, can we consider them a part of our ummah?
Our ummah?
Yes, our ummah, or the ummah of al-Islam,
Well,
from our perspective. Because we do have a view, a worldview of what al-Islam should be.
But I'm so busy trying to get this community of Muhammad, to be effective I really don't have time to get into they ain't right and I ain't right. I don't even want to entertain that.
Okay.
That's not even in my purview. I want to make sure that those that say they're with me are in lockstep.
And I get that too.
And so I ain't got
And
time to figure out who is and who ain't. That ain't
okay.
my call.
Okay. So it does become a little exclusive, or can become a little exclusive.
No, not really.
Not necessarily to the
Yeah.
in the well. I mean, if a group comes and they want to dominate, you're gonna shut the door in their face.
You know, I'm gonna be polite.
But you're gonna politely shut the door in their face.
I'll be polite and hope they take the hint.
Okay. But the door
Now,
closes nonetheless.
excuse me.
The door closes nonetheless.
Well, now they can come. They look here. If they want to be my thing, if someone wants to be a part of our masjid, they're free. And what we do, we give them information on who we are, right?
Mm-hmm.
As a community. This is who we are. And if they still want to attend, they know who we are. Now, if we're trying to undertake some activity to advance who we are, and they got problems with it, then they, that it causes a problem with it, then they need to go somewhere else. That's all. We don't mean they can't come back to go to Juma, but they have no voice in what we're trying to do. That's all. You can't sit in the background and complain about what we're doing, or whispering to people that he didn't say, they didn't say that right, they ain't right. So
Correct.
I was giving a football one time, and in the second part of the football, I talked about history, U.S. history. They used to. I said, they used to hang cattle rustlers, right? If you're trying to be amongst us to rustle people away from us, that's a cattle rustler. We can't have no progress like that, brother. I mean, I said, brother, there are five other communities you can be a part of around here. I suggest you go visit each one of them, whichever one you feel comfortable with and you can go to work on. Go there, because this one ain't for you. We're not gonna change what we're doing because you just came to the door yesterday. You understand?
Assalamu alaikum. Am I still having the
Walaikum
background?
salam. No, you're fine now.
So so just speaking on the other side, say they do come to our masjid, and then one week we have somebody that seems to be a Sufi. The next week we got someone that seems to be somewhat orthodox speaking. The next week we have somebody from the Nation of Islam speaking. How are they supposed to look at that? They may look at that like, they might need some type of guidance, because from what I've seen, from what I looked at, we don't even have across the nation, we don't even have 5 or 6 basic books that we all kind of go by. When I go to different masjids, it's not, okay, what are your basic books that you have? I don't even see that. So I think they look at it as an opportunity. That's my
Yeah,
opinion.
they do. They see it as an opportunity because we did the work. We don't have that. First of all, we don't have that problem in Masjid Omar Sayyid Ishmael. First of all, we don't. But we did the work. We built the masjid without money, sweat, tears, and everything else. We did all that. Now, while we were in this little storefront, there used to be a barber shop. Your butt was nowhere around. But as soon as we get the big one built, now you're gonna come and try to no, that ain't gonna work.
I got you. I understand.
No. You know, we had to do that. We had some brothers that, I mean, this was like, we had been open in the new building about 4 months. And these brothers were slowly trying to take over. Right? I sat down for being the man about 4 months after we got into the building. Because it was hell there, brother. I said, look, y'all can have it. And these were people that helped build. Fine, y'all. I went and sat on the floor. My wife at the time was trying to get me to go to one of the immigrant marches. No, I ain't gonna do that. I'll be miserable. I'd rather stay here and be miserable. So anyway, about 2 months later, I got a call, and these are some of the brothers inviting me to a meeting they were gonna have. Because the group was trying to force an election on the imam. They were looking for someone to succeed me. And and they didn't follow it. And there's one brother to keep in mind that he stood up in a meeting and said, Elijah Muhammad was a kafir. Man, Muhammad was a kafir. I said, I'm trying to, how can y'all let a man talk about your leader like that and you don't do nothing? You understand? So when it came time to try to force a vote, so we had selected a brother to succeed us. No, we had selected a brother to read a statement from the administrative council. So when he got up to read the statement, this young brother tried to snatch the paper out of his hand. So I stood up and went beside the brother. And I looked at all the people on the floor that claimed they were in our community. And I challenged them to come up too. So we had enough people there. That ain't gonna work. And the brother they were trying to get to be the leader, he was on parole. So one of the brothers, we said he was in our community. We said he was crazy. He was kind of crazy. But he called the police. That's the best thing he ever did. When the police came, them brothers ran out of there because they couldn't take the heat. They were on parole.
That's messed up.
They ran out the masjid. They ran out talking, astaghfirullah. I said, yes. Stock your butt on out of here. That's what we had to go through, man. They tried, it didn't work. But they saw weakness in our ranks because there were some brothers there that were working against me, and they knew that. And the brother that was working against me, he was sitting he claimed he followed man Muhammad. He was sitting on the floor when I went up there, and I called him, my brother, get up here, man. So he came up. When he came up to stand with us, one of the brothers said, oh, that's what you gonna do, brother. You wasn't like that when you came to get us to get him, man, Madam Beyond. I said, there it is.
So they called him out, huh?
Called him out big time. There it is. So, getting back to the point of being an Ummah, right? Everybody ain't doing it for the right reasons. Right? Some are doing it because, and the brother I talked about that, he was African American. And he hated what we had become. because he hated it. He didn't understand the transition of going by Muhammad. He couldn't work for it. You understand? So we had problems with that. Oh, like before we got into the new masjid, we went to storefront, and the we were renting the storefront, and our lease expired because we thought we'd be in a new place. So for about a month and a half, we had nowhere to go. So the community just went to various places around the city, Islamic centers and stuff, for Jummah. So I went on Fort Bragg. It was open base at the time, and they had Jummah there, and they had a Muslim chaplain. His name was Chaplain Khan. And I wanted to talk to him anyway, because I found out he was telling soldiers, don't come down to our masjid, because we the nation of Islam. So I went out there. I guess he trying to impress me. He invited me to lunch to the officer club. Went to the officer club. We sat down and we was talking. I said, Chaplain Khan, I got a question for you, brother. Why you keep telling people we the nation of Islam? You understand? That ain't true. Of course, I waited. He paid for the food before I said that. Anyway. But that's what we got to deal with. We got to deal with that.
What was his answer, though?
He claimed he didn't. He didn't.
Mm.
He didn't know, or some sorry. So he felt so bad. He asked me to do Jummah the next Friday, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then he came up to me. This was after Jummah invited me next Friday. He came up to me after Jummah, and he says, Brother Imam, he says, when you give your khutbah, you need to be very specific. I said, this man trying to tell me what to say on Jummah. I said, oh, okay. Oh, I know Chaplain Khan. I tell you what, I'll come from Quran and Sunnah. How about that? He didn't have no comeback for that one. So that's the stuff we got to deal with, brother. And I don't be initiating that. We don't be initiating that. Or we agreed to have a unified Eid prayer. And we will rotate the khutbah responsibility to each masjid, right?
Right. Yep.
Every time it comes to our time, oh, brothers, something come up, they can't do it. Well, the sisters don't want to be down. We don't have a separate room for the sisters, right? Or any of those things. But we do it outside, or it shouldn't make a difference. They come on amnesia. So it's always something. It ain't us. It ain't us, brother. It's something in their psyche. They just got problems dealing with Negroes. Unless the brother takes after them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then they're all right with it. But we're not like that, because we see ourselves as a community of Muslims that have a mission, right? And that's why I like the ayat that in Ali Imran, ayat number 110, because I used to do a few kubas on that. It says, you are the best of peoples, And that Ummah is translated here as people
Mm-hmm.
by Abdul Yusuf Ali. And it says, you are the best of peoples evolved for mankind. What are the actions of those people? Enjoying what is right, تأمرون بالمعروف وتنهون عن المنكر. Believing, enjoying what is right, forbidding what is wrong, and believing in Allah. Those are the actions that Allah says in the Quran that makes this group of people the best.
Right.
It doesn't say because you're Arab, or you're from the right country, or you speak the right language. It don't say none of that stuff.
It doesn't even say that you proclaim al-Islam.
Yeah, it does.
Does it say that? Does it say you Muslims are the best of people,
No, it says
or
you are the best of people. It doesn't say that they're Muslim,
is it? And it's talking directly to
but it's talking
Muslims.
to
Okay.
Muslims.
Okay. Okay. I can
It's
buy
talking
that.
to people that believe in Allah
Right.
and
But
follow the
but
Prophet.
it is a verse. I can't. I don't know it offhand. I'm driving, but it is a verse that says it's very similar to the other people too. Something very similar, if not exactly the same. I have to find it.
So, and the reason I was getting to that is whether, and I now remember that ayat in Al Imran, and it was specifically directed at the followers of the Prophet or Muslims. So, in the Muslim Journal, in that middle fold out, there is that quote from Imam W.D. Muhammad that also includes some of that same language. I believe I'm correct in that some of that same language. I don't have the Muslim Journal right here in front of me, but let us come to common terms, and goes on and talks about what those common terms are. And in that, Imam W.D. Muhammad's talking to everybody, not just his community, but he's talking to everybody, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And to me, in my simple mind, that's a call to an ummah, to create an ummah. That is more than just the believers, and using believers and Muslims interchangeably here. It's more than just a call to believers. It's a call to Jews and Christians and whoever else hears that call.
Yeah, but it doesn't specifically say in the Arabic Ummah.
Right. I agree. It doesn't.
That's the thing.
It doesn't. That's what I'm saying. That's just what I get from what he said. I'm not saying he was specifically calling for an ummah, or for that to be an ummah, or everybody to be joined in, no matter what walk of life or faith you come from, to be a part of the ummah. It just seems very similar. His call is very similar to what the prophet prescribed and put down on whatever they wrote it on in Medina. Very similar, and it included everybody that was there. And maybe that's too specific. It's just specific to Medina. But I do know that the caliphs that followed him carried that exact same message as they moved into Syria, as they moved into what is now present day Iraq, and so on and so forth. That all the tribes in those regions that the Muslims moved into and became the dominant political and military force, the rulers, basically, so to speak, that all those tribes signed on to the same thing, pledged allegiance to the same thing. And the early, probably first 200 years, after the prophet transition, that was the kind of the modus operandi of expanding al-Islam throughout the Arabian Peninsula into present day or Persia, present day Iran, up to Iraq and Syria, and even into area that's now considered Turkey and Egypt and so on. Was that basic thought, that document, and everything that it represented, because most of the lands that the Muslims were dominant in were still about 60% non-Muslim. But all of those people that were there that were something else agreed to pay the tax, agreed to abide by these rules, agreed to abide by those rules, whatever the Muslims spread out. And that was part of the growth and expansion of al-Islam. It didn't last, obviously. I mean, we are where we are today, but I'm just trying to get, I understand us, IWDM community, but I'm trying to get a better grasp on what I should consider, or what, if I even should imagine that there truly is a broader Ummah, or should I just look at those fine folks and think about them the same way I think about the Finns and the Swedes and the Norwegians and the Colombians and the Brazilians and everybody else? They're doing their thing. We're doing our thing.
No, I think what I get more from the Medina Charter is not just what the Muslims' obligation is, but how we would treat the non-Muslim. We didn't hold them to the standards of our book. We held them to the standard of what they say they believe in.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now, if they have a book and they're following their book, then they're not part of, I don't see that as being, they're part of our Ummah. Because I don't see the Ummah. I know of a term that says Ummatul Muslimi, right? The Ummah of Muslims.
Okay, so that is one Ummah. That's not the only kind of Ummah, obviously, right? But that is one particular Ummah.
Well, I look at.
Go ahead, yes, man.
I was gonna say I look at Medina. I'm kind of like my brother. I don't look at it as an ummah. I look at it as an ethical society. That's what the job of the Khalifa was, to build an ethical society that's a mixture of people.
I agree with you. I can buy that. The only question I have, and the reason I bring it up, is the prophet, in preparing the document, used the term Ummah. He said that it's written in there. All of those who signed this document and agreed to it are considered one Ummah. He said that.
No.
And it's in writing. You can go read the Constitution or Charter of Medina. It's in there.
Where is it written at?
In the body of the thing. It's one of the last lines.
Body of?
Yeah, the Charter of Medina.
And how do we know that what you're reading is accurate?
The same way that we would believe that what we're reading in the Quran is accurate, because that was also translated through the prophet.
So shouldn't someone read the Arabic?
I mean, it is the Arabic. That I'm just saying, I don't know. I can't say the Arabic words. The Arabic has been.
But you're translating.
The Arabic has been expressed to me, and Ummah is there.
But you're translating it.
Oh, I know I'm translating it, because I don't speak the Arabic well enough to say it. So I mean, anybody can go research it. That's what I'm saying. We should all do that. We should all go, anything that somebody says, we go research it on our own.
Now, the only thing that's accurate is the Quran.
100%. I agree with you.
Nothing else is accurate. Not saying anything against it,
Right.
but nothing else that's been passed down, especially in times where they have perverted thousands of hadith. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
Thousands of hadith. That's what I'm saying.
No, I'm in agreement with you, Adam.
Then,
That's
then
why I
the,
don't.
the
That's why
concept,
I don't get into hadith very much myself. I
then
don't.
the concept of ummah is covered. Many ummahs mentioned in the Quran several times,
Yes. Yes, it is.
and I have never seen ummah described. I'm saying never, not saying it's India. I'm not so adapted with the Quran where I can know it is or isn't. But I've never seen it translated as the Ummah is, well, just like Ishmael said, ethical society that includes all people. If
Yeah, but
anything,
that charter doesn't say anything about ethical society, even in translation. There's nothing in there about in any translation I've ever seen of it. There's nothing in there about ethical society. It's basically an agreement to keep the peace because there are different large groups in Medina. There's the Muslims, there's the Bedouins, there's the Jewish tribes,
exactly.
all of that. It's like a constitution. And I've heard people, imams in our community, say that our Constitution of the United States is based on the Charter of Medina. That's where they got it from.
That's fine. I mean,
Right?
that's fine.
So, I mean, it isn't like it's a made up thing. I think it's legitimately something that exists. It's not perfect, again, because it's not the Quran, but I think legitimately it exists. And legitimately, I think it states in there that those who signed are part of this Ummah. And maybe that is a specific Ummah relating to Medina. That's possible.
But Ishmael, you were talking about another place in the Quran. Are you talking about where Allah says, "Oh, people of the book, come to common terms that's between us and you, that we worship none but Allah, that we associate no parts with Him, that we erect not among ourselves lords and patrons other than Allah"? Is that what you're talking about?
No, were you reading 3:110? Was that what you were reading? I
No,
can't
no,
remember.
no.
I don't.
That's ayah 64 of Ali Imran.
Talk about the Imran. That was
Oh, that was
Imran was
110 in Ali in the same.
10. I believe it was 104, 103, 104.
Okay, yeah, 10, yeah, 104. That was the beginning of that, where Allah says, 104, because I use 104 and then 10 as the total evolution of that, evolving of that group.
Okay.
Every word it says, "Let there arise out of you a band of people. وَتَكُنْ مِنْكُمْ أُمَّةٌ يَدْعُونَ إِلَى الْخَيْرِ وَيَأْمُرُونَ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ." And this is the ethical part on this. Inviting to all that is good and joining what is right and forbidding what is wrong. That's
That's the ethical society, right?
Yeah. And forbidding what is wrong, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So Allah is trying to establish this ummah of people, or people that rise up out of the ummah. These, the ummah was bigger, but there has to be a model group that rises up, distinguish themselves out of the ummah,
Yes.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yes, I
then
agree.
Allah Allah describes this group. Once they stood up, then Allah says in 110, you are the best of people. Kuntum khayra ummatin ukhrajat linnas. You are the best of people, evolved for mankind. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And then Allah again describes what this small band of people, small group, or this small ummah, what kind of activity they would take part in. Enjoining what is right, forbidding what is wrong, and believing in Allah. That's the activity. And in doing those things, other people will see it. And you will be an example for other people. And it will be an encouragement for other people who want some of the same things to follow. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what it is. And then Allah brings it back to the people of the book, which is the Jews and the Christians. If only the people of the book had faith, it were best for them. Among them are some who have faith, but most of them are perverted transgressors. And that's the problem we have in America. Right? So,
Okay. So our role, if we were to accept the idea that there's a broad ummah that exists, then our role is to be that group that excels within that ummah, to set the standard.
the standard, the model.
Mm-hmm.
Doing what the big ummah should be doing, but they ain't doing it.
Okay.
And because
But
they
this
ain't,
is
there's a smaller group that's going to evolve and rise up. Right?
so you said that in the tense that it hasn't happened yet. It's going to. Do you think that
I
we are
believe it
at
happened
that
one time.
inflection point?
I believe it happened one time.
Yep, I
During the
do too.
time
One time.
Yeah.
I believe it happened one time. We trying to
One
get back to
time.
that. Yep.
It happened during the time of the prophet.
Right. It happened one time. Okay. Yeah, we're 14, what are 1447
Now keep in
minus
mind now.
whatever.
Keep in mind now. I don't know if I heard the man say this, and y'all can help me if I did, if he did. But when you say Ali al-Katab, the people of the book, guess what? We are Ali al-Katab too.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
We are.
Yeah,
You
we are.
understand?
Yeah.
Some people
Right.
may try to argue that, but I agree. We got a book.
We got a book.
Okay. All
And our
right.
book came the way the other books came from the Kitab, the mother of the book,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Right.
And what does Allah say in the last paragraph? If only the people of the book had faith, it would be best for them. If only the Christians had faith. If only the Jews had faith. If only the Muslims had faith, it would be best for them. So we got a long way to go, brother.
Yeah, it seems that way. And just that thought totally destroys my second question about leadership. Because until you have a group of people that rise up and as a group set the standard, the model behavior, a model life, you can't choose a leader. There's nobody to choose from.
You said you can't choose a leader until we have that group?
Well, you have to. You got to have a group of excellent people to choose from. You can have committees and organizations, and you can push the community forward in a lot of ways. You can make a lot of improvements, but that doesn't mean that you have a leader. And I'm not. Trust me, I'm not pushing Imam W.D. Muhammad to the side. I'm just saying he's not here present with us. We're still leaning heavily 17 years later on his leadership for 30 some odd years, 33 years of what he gave us in those 33 years. And that's a lot. He said it would last 1,000 years. I think that was his quote.
Somebody said that.
Somebody said that he said that, whatever. And I believe it.
Mm-hmm.
But the human mind, us, we can hear that and puts a smile on our face, but how much do we really draw from it? How deeply are we all going back? I know a lot of people do on a daily basis, but of our community, how many people are going back on a daily basis and pulling on that wisdom and incorporating it into everything? We all try, I think. And I do think there are excellent people within our community. I think I'm talking to two of them tonight. But collectively, would we say that we have collectively a group of people who've risen to this standard that everybody looks to those people? And if we can say yes, who are those people?
Well,
Whether there's dozens or hundreds, who are they?
You said who are the leaders? That was your question?
Yeah, I mean, who are the models? Who are the models that are clear? And I'm not saying there wouldn't be one person who poo-pooed it, but majority of people would say yes. That's our 12, or that's our 90, or that's our 311 people of high standard who they're modeling the behavior. They're modeling what even Imam W.D. Muhammad said should be the model.
I look at it like this. I look at our community like a 5,000 piece jigsaw puzzle. And I think for the most part, we have the edges of our foundation. But that middle part, it's only in sections. And I think it's certain people that have a certain part filled out, meaning it's them and the people that follow them. I mean, I can name some names, but I think we kind of know who some of the leaders are amongst us and have people following them.
well,
Go ahead.
no, I'm sorry.
And I look at it like that, and I think, when you have a puzzle, most time you have the picture to go by.
Right.
And I think
we have that, right? Don't we have that though?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I think some people may have a picture, but it might not be the picture. and we're trying to put this puzzle together in its sections, and I think the leader's going to be the one that can fill in those gaps to those other groups, in my opinion. And I'll stop there.
Okay.
Yeah, one man has said that he heard. I've been looking for the statement, but it said the man said, in terms of the leader, we'll know him when we see him. But I go back to what Edward just said, it's the knowledge will last 1,000 years. Right? Which
Mhm.
means go ahead.
No, I'm listening. I'm listening.
Yeah, but the knowledge will last 1,000 years. So what I'm like this. If the kind of leader we had in Imam Muhammad has not distinguished himself yet, then we have enough information already that if we just implement it, we'll be all right. So really, truthfully, I know what work that my understanding we need to do, right? In my town, in my area, whatever. I know what work we need to do. And I try to do as much as I can do to fulfill that work. And I haven't met anybody that's going to help me fulfill that work anymore yet. So I'm just going about doing what I do. But people are sitting around debating who's the leader. And I think that's a wasted effort of trying to determine who's the leader, or this brother's better than that brother, he should be out front. Well, I don't see that. I mean, there's too much work to be done to be wasting time on who should be the leader.
I agree. There's too many pieces of this puzzle that need to be filled out. It still need to be filled. So
Yeah.
I agree.
And
I think. Go ahead.
Go, Edward, out there, you want to say something?
No, I
gonna
was
say
just going to say I agree. I agree with the two of you also on that same point.
I think a sign when you see them, I think a sign of that is would be, and if it ever comes about that so and so is going to be in going to be in Arkansas or wherever, and then people just go there because that he's going to be there, not that he was invited to Arkansas and the people there are going to greet him. I think that just like with the imam said he was going to be somewhere, they may just go just to be able to say assalamu alaikum to him and just listen to him in person. In those days, I don't think those days are the same anymore like it used to be because we got so much technology. But I think it'll be something similar to that. That's what I'm thinking.
I think it's hard to know because when I think back on the life of Prophet Muhammad, who knew? It was a shock to even him. And I mean, I know that we have countless models of excellent leadership since the prophet. We have his example, obviously. We have the example of many of those, not all, but many of those that came after him. We have Imam W.D. Muhammad. We even have the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And we could talk about, non-Muslims that probably are a good model as well, but we don't need to. But I agree with a little bit of what Ishmael's saying is that we have the outline and we have the edges, both of a successful community, a somewhat complete community, and also the makings of some leaders. It is almost like tribal leaders. If their message is clear enough and in certain areas they're really strong in knowledge, people gravitate to them because that's what they want to hear, or that is what soothes them or moves them to be better people. Okay. But when Imam W.D. Muhammad was alive, there was no other place to go. And I don't see, I just personally, I agree with you too, Adam. We'll know them when we see them. I get that because that pervades or has pervaded every year of my life since I was a conscious, truly thinking human being, especially involved in any kind of sports or any kind of business enterprise that you knew who the leader was when they stepped in the room, or if you were around them and a group of people in 10 to 15 minutes, you knew. Oh, okay, that guy. That's the one. You knew. I don't see that right now. And I don't even know, again, I agree with you again. I don't know if it's that important at the moment. But I do think that there will come a time when it is important. And I hope that person's ready.
Where if Allah raises another leader, I think that person will be ready. I hope the followers are ready.
Okay. Better statement than mine. Yeah. Yeah. Given where we are, much better statement than mine.
Well, brothers, nothing personal, but I've had a long day.
Yes, sir. My AC is down, so I just got home. I got to figure out what's going on with it. So,
Oh my goodness.
AC,
You have the
oh
you
man,
have the
yeah,
biggest problem because
yeah, you
I'm
got
in
a
the
problem,
exact
brother.
same. I know exactly what you're going through there, except my air conditioner's working and we're in the same city.
yes, sir.
It is rough here without air conditioning right now. All right, brother Adam, close us out. Thank you guys so much.
All right. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanatan wa fil akhirati hasanatan wa qina adhaban nar. O Allah, give us the best benefits in this life and the best benefits in life to come, and save us, O Allah, from the torment of the hellfire. Ameen.
I mean,
Mean.
well,
All right.
Hope
Alaikum
you get it working,
salam.
Ishmael.
yes, sir.
Hope you
Thank
get
you.
it working, brother.
Mhm.
Alhamdulillah.